track of the days of the week. I keep forgetting to turn off that light behind me. That's bad lighting. If I go like here, how's that? That's a lot better. Hi, folks. How's it going? We don't have anybody on yet, but you've probably heard that Deacon Frey is out of the Eagles. I don't think anybody's really surprised by the news that he's out. This is old news. It came out a little while ago. I'm just trying to fix my page here so I can read this. So, hi, folks. Deacon Frey's out. In the beginning of this tour, it was people were saying that, well, he was sick. And I contacted Alan Frey, Glenn's brother, who I've gotten to know quite a bit on this page. And I asked him, I says, okay, so if it's confidential, it's confidential. But why is he sick? Is he really sick? Or have you heard anything? Can you tell me anything? And Alan, who's always great about stuff like this, basically said, John, he's out of this tour, this leg of the tour. He says, as far as I know, that's all I know right now, that he's out of this leg of the tour. So I thanked Alan. I said, no problem. No. And I decided not to report on it. I thought, that could mean anything. You know what? He's got to, Alan's got to play it straight. He's got to watch what he says. And I don't blame him. He's part of the friends and family of course, being Glenn Frey's brother. And I've interviewed Alan twice for this channel. So anyway, that was fair enough. But anyway, we find out today that Don Henley released a statement. It basically says he feels like he should go on his own path, Deacon. It, quote, we understand completely and we support him in whatever he wishes to pursue in his years ahead. In the wake of his dad's demise, I found that was an interesting word, but it's true, it's demise. Deacon, at age 24, did an extraordinary thing by stepping in from relative anonymity into a very public world of his father's long, illustrious career. And, he said they leave the door open for him to come back, because he's 28 now. He's been with them for 4.5 years. And, when you look at what the Eagles did with 7 albums, I mean, think about what this band, and really, you can cut that short and really call it, the bulk of the hits, of course, are from the first 6 albums. The Eagles 72, Desperado the following year after that, On the Border. They hit their stride with One of These Nights. It's like it would have been a big band even leaving it then, before that, the band members started splitting up and things like that. But Hotel California came up and blew up the world. You know what I mean? It just was insane. The Long Run was a slightly disappointing follow-up. I still liked it, but I don't think a lot of people liked it as well as Hotel California. Hotel California is a crowning achievement. And The Long Run Out of Eden, which no one expected to be what it was, to me, was an album that could have been released after The Long Run. It was an unbelievable record, So Bernie Ledden had told me that. I said, was there any possibility that you would have stayed after that? And he said, oh, no, it was finished. And then Randy Meisner, who I interviewed back then, here's the picture of me, not with me and Randy, but it was a phoner. And everyone likes that interview I did with Randy. It was quite a long interview, but he sent me this after the interview. So there you go. I don't want the reflection to come on of the, but he sent me this. And he asked me, he said, what's your favorite Eagles album? Because he really enjoyed the interview. We had a really nice chat. I said, well, I don't know. As you can imagine, I go from Hotel California to One of These Nights, but I says, right now, my favorite album is probably One of These Nights. And I think it's been my favorite Eagles album for longer than Hotel California's been. So he sent me an autographed album. It's always in the back when I do my interviews, not here, but in the last house when we lived out west, we're in the process. We've lived here since August. I haven't put those albums up on the wall yet. It's just, I don't know why. It's just crazy. But I haven't done it yet. And I've got to read your post, so I'm going to have to, I know this is very professional, but I have to ask Shannon to go get my iPad. Hold on. I'll be right back. Anyone joining us now will say, where's the host? Hey, Shan, can you bring me my iPad? Shan? I don't know. Okay, never mind. It's okay. I don't know where it is. I don't know where the iPad is. Isn't that funny? Because it's easier for me to read the comments on the iPad. So I wasn't surprised when Don Henley said that today because I thought this is sort of a fork in the road for him. And there are people saying, well, who will replace him? No one's going to replace him. Why would they? Some people said Jackson Brown. Jackson Brown's doing his own tour with James Taylor. Hi, Shani. You're not on camera. It's okay, honey. You're nowhere near the camera. Thanks. Everyone's gonna say hi to Shannon now. You can close the door, Cookie. Thank you. Yeah. So, here we go. Yeah, I'm not prepared tonight. After the Bobby Rydell thing last night, it was kind of sad with Bob. I was feeling somewhat melancholy last night after putting together, as I promised last night, the Bobby Rydell thing. Yeah, let me get to some of your comments. Maria Day. Hi, Maria. You're always such a great supporter. Thank you. Hi, John. Richard Perez. Good evening, John. Melody. Hi, John. Hello, hello. Anthony, YouTube fan. Rocky Street Music. Oh, crap. Did Deacon start a solo career or something else going on? I know there's some YouTubers, and please don't mention their names here if they're spreading rumors. There's a lot of YouTubers who like to spread rumors about things where they don't really have inside connections and stuff. It's just hogwash. It's tomfoolery, I tell you. Anyway, so let's not start that kind of stuff. Not that you're doing that. You're not doing that. But I think he'll probably start a solo career. He's got a good position too. I mean, I find it strange if he didn't. JW Prime Time. Saw them in Tampa 6 weeks ago. Really wanted to see Deacon, but it was 2 weeks before he was out. Thought it was COVID. Well, Alan didn't tell me it was COVID, Glenn Frey's brother. He just said, I'll tell you this, he's out of this section of the tour for sure. He's not coming back. So that's all he knew. Jamie Martinez, good luck, Deacon. Yeah, I agree. Good luck to him. It was really nice as a sort of a bridge when Glenn passed, which was a shock to everybody. I mean, that was like David Bowie shock. That was like, what? When Brad Delp of Boston, when Brad Delp died. I mean, there was different reasons then because Brad took his own life, but it was just, I thought, he's sick? I didn't even know he's sick. So there you go. Melody R, I love Deacon. I think a lot of people did. It was a real good bridge to have him on there because people wanted a piece of, that legacy of, and even though he didn't create any of those songs, it didn't really matter. The fact that he was there was just a piece of goodwill and it kind of kept everything together, I think, in some ways. And of course, Vince Gill, what a great guitarist he is. I'm not sure if from what I saw, Vince is not being utilized as the guitarist he is on there, but that's okay. They've got their own man. James Bashir, hello, John, and everyone who's hanging out. Day Tripper, hello. Deacon's going to find out that he should have stayed with the band a bit longer. Well, maybe not. I don't think he's hurting for money. I don't think it's a case of that. But you never know what someone's financial situation is, and you don't know if they're going, hey, make your own money. And he would have been paid handsomely to be on there. There's that side where, someone started a rumor a little while ago saying, well, he wanted to continue the Eagles after the other guys. And I'm going, you have no proof of that whatsoever. You just kind of made that up, and that he wanted to continue the Eagles, and the other guy said, no, when we're finished, we're finished. There's no proof of that, like absolutely nothing. And but it's juicy, right? You can make up that. Some people just do that. Drama sells, whenever you want to say just crazy crap, and just try getting an interview with those people. If you start rumors like that, you know what? It ain't good. That dog won't hunt for you. Maria Day, maybe he's tired. Yeah, maybe, and he hasn't done that kind of work, right? I mean, the Eagles have become, when you consider, like I said, 7 albums. 7 albums. With their greatest hits, which is not in those 7 albums because it's the greatest hits, and a few live albums. When you look at how much they sold with 7 freaking albums, it's insane. Like Hotel California, I remember I couldn't go anywhere without people playing that, and you know that. I'm overstating the obvious. So anyone who was 17 and, I was 17 in 77, because the album was big in 77. That's when everyone played it. Hike with Mike. My favorite Eagles song is Wasted Time. That is such a great song. I came to that one late. I mean, I bought Hotel California when it was released, but I didn't warm up to that song till much later. And I like when that happens, right? Ted Harrington, where's the hostie? There you go, Ted. Sorry about that. I was looking for my iPad, which I'm checking. It's fired up. Neil Noble. Hi, Maria Day. Maria Day. John will be right back. Thank you for. Yeah, I wanted the iPad, and Shannon can't hear me because really, upstairs where we do our Friday Night Live, it's down this long hall and straight upstairs on the other side of the house where she is. It's not a big house, but it ain't small either. So James says, my favorite Eagles albums are On the Border and Desperado. It's interesting. A lot of people like to say bad things about On the Border, and I equally hear things about Desperado sometimes. Where I'm with you, James. I love those two albums. We talked to Henry Diltz, who took the pictures for on the Desperado and the first album. And he said they had a hell of a time. They were, having some fun times with the first album in the desert there. But he told me some great stories. And the interviews are on this channel, by the way. Anthony, YouTube fan, says, and here I was thinking that the Eagles intended to follow Glenn Frey's wishes and do an EP album of covers. Oh, I really was hoping another LP would surface with Deacon and Vince contributing. Well, there's that thing of with the Eagles that people who join the Eagles they don't have a share in the Eagles like Glenn and Don did, who are the two main guys, right? And when they brought Bernie Ledden back, one thing he did tell me, he said, they paid me really well to go on there. I have no regrets. Will I ever go back? He says, never say never, but probably not. And he was really honest about it, And I asked Bernie Ledden, I said, what would Hotel California have sounded like if you were on it? He says, well, that's a cute question. He's very blunt. He's a great guy. He's just a great guy to talk to. He says, well, that's a neat question, but I was never going to be on that album. So there you go. Melody says, my favorite is Hotel California. JW Primetime. I think On the Border might be my favorite too. Well, On the Border, Best of My Love, right? That was their first big hit. So hold on, let me just go into, I've got Wiki open. I'm sometimes surprised that Wiki sometimes get things wrong. But there you go. I don't know. I always just kind of think Best of My Love was number one in 1974. But then, of course, after that, they had a lot of number one hits. They had One of These Nights. Lion Eyes was number 2 hit. Take It to the Limit, number 4. New Kid in Town, number 1. Hotel California, number 1. Heartache Tonight was number 1. I mean, it's amazing the legs that their albums really had. But their first hit, not that we need a history lesson on the Eagles, was Take It Easy, right? Number 12 on the Billboard charts in the U.S. And I'm not sure if it still stands. The Greatest Hits is the biggest selling album in U.S. history, beating out Thriller. They kind of went back and forth for a little while. Thriller is the biggest selling album in the world. But in the United States, it's basically Greatest Hits, the Eagles' Greatest Hits Volume 1. Let's get to the questions, shall we? Ruben Kincaid. Deacon should start an Eagles tribute band named Beagles. Make more money than Henley that was paying him. Oh, okay. I'd love to interview Don Henley. He's always been my favorite Eagle. I don't make excuses about it. I've always gravitated, and I think I've told you guys before. I was going to bring the Eagles Hotel California, One of These Nights autograph by Randy Meisner. For anyone who's just joining us, when I interviewed Randy, he sent me this. So there you go. I don't want to have the reflection of the computer on here. That's why I'm being careful. It's just that it says to John, take it to the limit at QMFM. John, Randy Meisner. He didn't sign it, John Bowden. He signed it, Randy Meisner. What the heck's going? What kind of show is this? Anyway, in the back of one of these nights, remember, they all looked like they were having a really good time. It looked like they were out in the town. They weren't. It was a photo session. But Glenn Frey looks like he's fried, on the back of that album. And I don't know why at 15 years old, I decided the guy who was singing one of these nights was Glenn Frey, was that guy. I didn't know it was Glenn Frey. I thought, oh, he's the guy. And I don't know why I would do things like that. I mean, when I was young, I would just decide, oh, that's the lead singer there. What the heck? Yeah, then I became a YouTuber talking about music. Thank God it didn't take that mindset to do my YouTube channel. I'd be ashamed of. But I decided, I said, and then one day I because it was before the internet and I didn't know. One day I realized, that's Glenn Frey. Don Henley's over here with the afro. Just being young and stupid. I don't know. Hike with Mike. Good percentage of the Eagles had great solo albums too. Yeah, Don Henley being the biggest one. Reuben Kincaid, On the Border, my favorite. Thank you. Amy Thompson. Timothy has a new album. Always trying to get Timothy. Neil Noble. Who was the best drummer? Don or Phil Collins? Oh, Phil Collins is a better drummer. Technically, yeah. Don is very solid. As far as being, he keeps it in. He can be very tight. A lot of people say he's not. He didn't do fancy schmancy stuff, where Phil, of course, did. So if you like that kind of stuff. So Phil Collins is a more complicated drummer. Reuben Kincaid, Collins is a far better drummer. Yeah. Anthony, YouTube fan. My favorite Eagles albums are One of These Nights, Hell Freezes Over. Oh yeah, we forgot about Hell Freezes Over. But that's technically a live album with a few new songs, so that wasn't on there. Get Over It, I thought was not a bad song. Hotel California, Long Run, and of course the Eagles 72. Brandon Clevenger. Sometimes you have to step aside for your father's shadow. You know what? You've nailed it possibly here tonight. I think so. I think that, and it wasn't his jive necessarily. I'm sure he grew up with those songs. I interviewed Steve Howe's son, who's a drummer, a great drummer, and his name is Dylan Howe. And Dylan, sounds like Deacon. Dylan says, I grew up with those Yes songs. He'd hear them all. And he said, by the time I got to jam into some of this stuff via drummers in his world, Alan White helped him, Bill Bruford helped him a little bit, but more Alan White. He said, I knew those songs. And, I said, well, did you get the fact that your dad was, Steve Howe? He said, nah, it's just my dad. And all musicians do that. And I think at some levels, your dad becomes bigger sometimes when they pass away. Everyone becomes bigger. You never notice, you watch a show on TV where someone got murdered. I watch way too many murder mystery documentaries, docudramas, whatever they're called. And everyone walks into a room and lights it up. Every single person who dies. So there's a bit of that too. My older brother, who was a wild child, he passed away and he's like a saint now. But he was a cool guy. It's just that when you die, you become, and I'm talking as a human being, not the fact that Glenn Frey didn't contribute. Glenn Frey was a king. That band wouldn't have been that band without him. So I think for him to go in there and step in his father's footsteps was an amazing thing and probably cathartic to him and healing for him to do that. And to see the fans and to get firsthand the fans' reactions to those songs. I know he'd gone to concerts before. I know that. But for the fact that he was on stage, let's think about that. So it must have been healing for him. But then I think there's a possibility that was enough, or we don't know. We don't know. I don't like, hey, Brandon Sturgeon, hey, from Miramichi. Brandon lives where I grew up, Miramichi. I'm lower eastern New Brunswick, and he's northeast in New Brunswick. Hey, Brandon, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming on. I just sold an Elton John Billboard magazine from the 90s to a lady today because I'm getting rid of a lot of my memorabilia kind of stuff. And she was acting kind of a little different. And then this never happens, by the way. Never happens. And I thought, oh God, this woman watches my videos. Really nice lady, just a sweetheart of a lady. We talked for like an hour outside. But she says, by the way, I know who you are. I said, what? Thought I'd done something I forgot about. But it was strange today because that just never happens. I never go to a store and never get recognized. I mean, the channel's going to hit 100,000 in the next few months, and that's really nice. But that's not the kind of thing that's going to get you recognized, and nor do you want to because it makes things awkward sometimes. But today was really nice. This lady's a super Elton John fan, super fan. Spends a lot of money on Elton John. Did not have that Billboard magazine. I hadn't really looked at it since I bought it. So she bought it from me. There you go. That's my story about today. Amy, you're right. He looks like his dad. He really did look like his dad. Hike with Mike. I was in the hospital with a very similar condition that Glenn Frey had. Oh, and he died, and I was recovering at home watching the Eagles documentary. It was surreal. No freaking kidding. Wow. Brandon Sturgeon, he said, hi from Miramichi. Brandon says, I think he probably wants to find his own identity, and it's very true. I think that's B40, saw the Eagles live, great players, but extremely boring concert. They do it the same way every night. They're basically, they've got it down. That's what they do. Fans seem to like that. Classic rock, don't forget The Last Resort. Great song. Yeah, no kidding. Melody R, I love Witchy Woman. Yeah. You know, they could do no wrong in the 70s when you look at, Witchy Woman's from the first album. We actually interviewed Jack Temchin, too, who was next to Don Henley, the biggest writer beside Glenn Frey, right? But with Glenn Frey, that is, solo or otherwise. And Jack was just one of those guys, you know, he's just a laid back dude. But from the first album, just look at this. Peaceful Easy Feeling, number 22 hit. Witchy Woman, number 9 hit. That was the biggest hit from that album. And Take It Easy, number 12 hit. I think if you looked at Spotify, I don't have it nearby, I would think that Take It Easy is bigger than Witchy Woman now, because that happens an awful lot, right? You'll have a number 1 hit, then you'll have a number 10 hit, but one song will stand the test of time a little bit better. So someone look that up if you have Spotify nearby. I'm sure Take It Easy is much bigger than Witchy Woman now. Tequila Sunrise off Desperado, then Outlaw Man. Outlaw Man was not a hit. Tequila Sunrise in the beginning was not a hit. Well, in the beginning it either is or it isn't. Already Gone from On the Border. James Dean was not a hit number 77. And then, of course, the number 1 hit, Best of My Love. Right out of the gate, the title song to One of These Nights in 75 was a number 1 hit. Lion Eyes was number 2. Take It to the Limit, number 4. New Kid in Town was released in 76. Of course, the album was released in the latter part of the year, right? And that was a number 1 hit. Hotel California was the second single. That was number 1. Life in the Fast Lane, number 11. And then they released a Christmas song, Please Come Home for Christmas, their cover of that song, which was number 18. I'll just go through a few more here. Heartache Tonight, right out of the gate, Long Run. We were so hungry for the Eagles, I remember. Number 1 hit. Long Run, the title song, and I Can't Tell You Why, both number 8 hits. And then from the live album, they released, remember, Seven Bridges Road, and that was a number 21 hit. And they didn't come back till 94, folks. Yeah. Get Over It was number 31, and that was the last actual hit they had on the U.S. Billboard charts. So that says an awful lot for the boys. Anyway, please like our video. We'd appreciate if you like our video. And any of you ever meet some of the Eagles? I mean, for me, I interviewed Bernie Ledden. I interviewed Jack Temchin, who wrote with Glenn a lot, and interviewed, like I said, so some of you are just joining it, Glenn Frey, Randy Meisner rather, and love to have talked to Glenn Frey, but never had a chance to, you know. Still love to talk to Don Henley. It might happen, because he's my favorite Eagle, and I'd love to sit down and talk to him about maybe something different, maybe not just the songs. Artists are really good, and I know a lot of you know this. Artists are usually very good when you go, I know you've told this story 100,000 times, but I don't own those clips, and I need to own those clips because I'm going to do something with all my stuff, you know? And most artists are not like Bryan Adams. Bryan Adams, did you see the Today Show? The Australian Today Show. They were talking about the new album, and then they went to summer of '69. They showed the video in the background. Brian's right there. And I know a lot of you guys have seen this. And I said, "Oh, the summer of '69, what a great year that was. Tell me about that song. It was just magical." And he says, "Well, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the new album," as he has a smile on his face. And I went, "Wow." Because I've tried to get, especially this time, I went to his management company and asked for an interview. Heard nothing back. Because 50% of the time, if an artist of that ilk, 50% of the time you'll hear back from them. Robert Plant's manager got back to me in like 10 minutes and said, no, he's not doing anything for that album a few albums ago, re-release of his solo albums. So I thought that was nice. I said, hey, thanks for getting back to me, man. And so you never know what you're going to get, right? You just never know what you're going to get. But it's a passing of the torch that Deacon did, and it was a nice thing that he did. I'm getting like a gazillion comments. Let's go to some of the comments, shall we? Elaine Cox says, "Hi, Elaine. Long Road Out of Eden, underestimated. Yeah, you're right. The song, do some. You know what? Waiting in the Weeds was my favorite song off that album. Oh my God, to this day, when I hear that song by Henley, I stop everything I'm doing. I just love that song. Sweet Savage, hey, nice to have you back. Stop watching the Eagles after they fired Don Felder. There's a lot of bad blood there. Brandon says, Vince is an exceptional guitarist. Yes, just listen to how much he influenced the sound of Brad Paisley. He's just one of the best guitarists in country music, that's for sure. Hike with Mike, the classic rock, I agree. Call Someplace Paradise, kiss it goodbye. Neil Noble, thanks Ruben Kincaid. Mark 187, I think On the Border it gets overlooked. I completely agree with you. Well, when you look at the fact that they had their first number one hit with Best of My Love. David Kornblatt, the Eagles danced in the shadow of Graham Parsons. Yes, but the problem with Graham Parsons is, unless you're a real serious music fan, and everyone should know who he is, but unless you're real serious music fans, there's all those bands that are in that family, like Flying Burrito Brothers and all those bands of that ilk that sometimes don't get the recognition that they deserve, right? And there's always going to be a lot of those. The Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young were exception. They got real good recognition. But like you get a band that came up like Poco. Poco was not in the same league at all, I think, of the Eagles, but I love their music on some levels a lot. I love Richie Fure's stuff, even though he really never had a hit. But he's a great interview. I love talking to him. But there's just so many people of that ilk that were around back then. Okay, what do we got? Yeah, James says Stuart Smith, is good replacement for Felder. There was an article the other day, why hasn't Stuart Smith been an official member? He was always like the side guy, and he does a lot of different projects. He's very busy. Maria Day says, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Oh, Richie 59. They need Felder back in the band okay, I'll have to get to your comments. So, because Super Chat, you get priority, because that's what Super Chats are for. As it stands now, Don Henley and the hired guns. Even Joe Walsh is hired gun. As far as I know, he's not. Here's the thing, what would you do? Well, unless you've walked in their shoes, what would you do? What would I do? Would I hold the reins really, really closely if I was Don Henley now? I don't know. It's easy to say I wouldn't, but until you're in his shoes, I like the Eagles documentary a lot. It was hard to see Don Felder feeling bad and wanting to come back. I can see now I've gotten quite a sunburn today staying outside. Okay, let's get to some of the questions. You guys are very knowledgeable, by the way. I love the people who watch, listen to us. I appreciate it very much because you guys are really, really plugged into, what's going on in music. A lot of musicologists, a lot of real serious music fans. So I thank you for that. So it makes a big difference in my life. Ed says, I'm sorry if I've missed some comments. Love Randy Meisner's voice. Yeah, me too. He still had his voice when I talked to him. He still could, I could understand in 2000, I think it was. Anthony says, Dennis Casto, absolutely. Are you guys talking to each other? Hold on. Sorry about this. My favorite Eagles song is probably One of These Nights. I've always loved that song. When they have the long version with the intro, the longer intro. It still gets to me every time I hear it. And Hotel California, I like the Henley stuff the best. He's always been, like I said, my favorite Eagle. So, Matt, hey John, I can't blame Deacon for wanting to carve his own path. And from what I hear, he was absent earlier this year. Yeah, Vince Gill covered most of the songs. Okay, Pulsar Lights. There is a bootleg video of the Hotel California tour from Houston, Texas, '77. Decent quality. I had a few bootlegs of the Eagles going back. I don't like. I used to like collecting bootlegs, and but when I was younger, I sold bootlegs. Not for a long time, very very short time. But Wild. I'll get your comment here. Super chats. Wild. Will D. Sorry about that. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. All money that you give us goes to advertising because, man, we need it. We want to reach 100,000 subscribers. I'm 25-year-old and I love rock music. I've seen Peter Frampton live 14 times. Wow. You're serious. Eagles 5, first 3 with Glenn Frey. This channel rocks. Oh, Will, I appreciate that. And thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Man, it's nice. Setting up ad campaigns for our trailer, because that's what we do. We want people to see our trailer so they check out because most big YouTubers, they all advertise. It's just what you have to do. You do that with a company. I mean, YouTube. Remember, I think I told some of you guys before, there's a guy went on, and I watch a lot of these, hey, how to become a better YouTuber and what to do and banners and stuff. We try to put nice banners up. And he had said that if you want to buy your way into YouTube, we haven't done that. And you can usually tell by the amount of likes a video gets and match it towards the hits. That's why people hide their likes. A lot of times it means their comments. It's because they are buying their way into it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, we wanted to earn it on our own. But this YouTuber said, and I found this is fascinating, if you have $5,000 and enough content, just a little bit of content, and your content is half decent, you can buy your way into having 1,000 subscribers for, he said, I think it was $5,000. And I went, wow, that's a lot of money. Who would do that? Then I realized, wait a minute, as I said a while ago, $5,000, that's a small investment for a company. Think about it. It's a very small investment. But you have to have the quality, because once you get monetized, you can't lose it unless you got copyright strikes, right? So anybody wants to do that, you can. You kind of got to get enthralled with the type of stuff you do. Niching in rock and roll, which is what we do, it's a heavy competitive market, right? But I decided to do it because I've been in radio 39 years. Coming up next month, it'll be 39 years. And I thought, well, I know my stuff. I've been interviewing rock and roll stars for 39 years, and I've got a lot of interviews. We get so many new interviews now on this channel that we can't even get to the old interviews. I mean, look, we've got 2 reel-to-reels. Hold on, there's one. And we've got the big one that you've seen, the Studer. The Studer is, I lucked out on that one. My old boss, my first boss gave me that one. It's worth like 10 grand. I paid $1,000 for it. Anyway. So let's get to some more comments before we say goodbye. Amy Thompson Felder is super nice. Love his fans. I'm trying to get an interview with him. Richie59, Lying Eyes is brilliantly written. Yeah, that's a great song. I went with a record player and would go listen to the entire One of These Nights album, and I would write the lyrics down on paper. What am I doing with the type? I couldn't type back then. when I was 15 years old. So I wrote down all the lyrics of every single song on one of these nights. It took freaking forever on a turntable. So you have to like lift up the arm, and I didn't even have one of those little arms that lifts up the arm. I'd have to find the place again. It was crazy. I don't know. You look back and why did I do that? But I wanted to know the lyrics. And then there's always lyrics you can't tell, right? And this is before, 75, no one had the internet. Paulstar says Felder didn't lose. He gets paid every time they play. Logan, Henley said many years ago that the Eagles would not continue without Deacon. Do you think they will conclude after this tour? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Glenn, people, it's the old hell freezes over thing, right? When do the Eagles get back together? When hell freezes over, right? The famous quote. Well, they got back together. And if people still want to see them, then they're going to tour. Everyone was complaining about Genesis saying, oh, how could they do that? It's just crazy. Phil looks like he's dying. Okay, that was my quote. And I didn't mean disrespect to Phil because I love Phil Collins so much. But he looked ill. But people went. The shows were sold out. The Eagles sell out a lot of shows. People still want to see them. You're allowed to change your mind, And I think that if Don Henley wants to continue it, good on him. Vince Gill's going to do his own stuff, They all do their own things. Dr. Detroit, the Eagles, like Journey, can put out one or two original guys and tour forever. It's true. James says subscribers are only as good as the watch hours. Yeah, very true. But you need 1,000 subscribers to get monetized, and you have to have a certain amount of hours as well. That's why 2 of our channel are monetized, and 2 of our channels have over 1,000 subscribers. But we're too busy working on this channel right now. I look back and I'm going, I shouldn't have started so many channels, but I did, and it's the way it goes. So there you go. I love Steve Perry too, Maria says. Okay, I've got to go record my show. So Amy Thompson says Felder got a condolence letter from a woman when Glenn died. He bought her a plane ticket and flew her to his concert. Wow. Dr. Detroit. The Eagles charge a fortune for tickets. People still go. Well, the woman I sold the Billboard magazine to today, the old billboard with Elton John on it, she's paid an astronomical amount of money. She might be watching now. She watches my videos, and it's strange selling something to someone. She says, "I know who you are. I've watched your video," and because that never happens. It's the only other time it's happened. It was Elton John. I did a thing on Elton John in Calgary, and I was at Starbucks, and the woman looks at me and she says, "You're the Elton John guy," because I just did something on his new album, and I went, "Really? Wow, that's interesting." But so there you go. There you go, folks. I've been. Oh, Daryl, thank you so much. Very kind of you. Daryl B, thank you very, very much. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. And you didn't say anything, but you just threw money at me, and that's nice. Thanks. So the channel, before I leave, I'll say the channel is anticipating reaching 100,000. We're a little ways away yet. We're a few months away from getting 100,000 subscribers, but we're going to get there. We're still interviewing a lot of people for our Canadian channel because I like interviewing. I used to syndicate across the country a Canadian channel called Across Canada Report. It was on 45 different markets across the country. We couldn't get Toronto because of my stubborn head, because I should have gotten a bigger broadcaster back in the 80s to host it, because I wasn't, let's say I wasn't, thanks, Daryl, again, beautiful, thank you. So I like Canadian music, and like tomorrow I'm interviewing Jesse Cook, who I think a lot of, well, Americans know Jesse Cook because he was on the Narada label, and he's a flamenco guitarist, but does a lot more than, he does kind of world guitar. And he just hit like 1 billion views or something on Spotify, so we're going to talk about it. So good for him. Anyway, folks, thanks for hanging out with us. That was very, very kind of you. I don't say this enough, but I love you guys, because you know what? I wouldn't be earning a living if it wasn't for you guys. Some months are a little tight on YouTube. That's why that Patreon account's almost ready to go. because you can't really depend on it that much. But it's nice that you're out there, you watch the videos, and it means an awful lot to us. So thank you so much, everyone. Please take care of yourself. And I've got my little button. Yes, by the way, someone had asked a while ago. I have changed positions in the room. I'm now in the far corner. I'll always have kind of this view when I'm doing interviews and stuff. And a lot of good interviews coming up. I just talked to Pete Agnew of Nazareth. I talked to Mike Reno of Loverboy. Sniffing the Tear, talked to those guys. Got some good interviews coming up, and some exciting things almost happening. We want to wait because we don't want to say anything till we get those interviews. So we'll see. Okay. Love you guys. Take good care of yourself. Okay. Stay safe.